Welcome to the Explainer. If you've ever navigated India's education system, you've definitely come across a few key acronyms: Ncte, Ncert, and Scert. They sound similar, they pop up everywhere, but what do they actually do? And why should you care? Well, today we're going to clear up all that confusion. For so many people, students, parents, and hey, even a lot of teachers, these names can feel like a jumble, a real alphabet soup. It's tough to figure out who's in charge of what. So let's start putting the pieces of this puzzle together. You see them mentioned all the time, right? One minute it's about textbooks, the next it's about teacher training, then it's some new policy. So what's the deal? Are they all just doing the same thing? Let's find out. Nope, not at all. In fact, each one has a really distinct and absolutely crucial role in shaping education all across India. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll see exactly how they fit together, and I promise you will never mix them up again. Okay, let's meet these three big organizations. And we're not just going to talk about their names, but what they actually do. Think of them as the three main pillars holding up the entire school education system in the country. First up, we've got the Ncte, the National Council for Teacher Education. To put it simply, these are the rule makers, the gatekeepers. If any college wants to offer a teaching degree, like a B.Ed, they absolutely need the Ncte's seal of approval. Ncte sets the standards for who gets to teach the teachers. Next in line is Ncert, the National Council of Educational Research and Training. Now, if Ncte are the rule makers, then Ncert are the national architects. These are the folks who design the educational blueprint for the entire country. They're the masterminds behind the curriculum and the textbooks that millions and millions of students use every single day. And that brings us to our third pillar, the Scert, or the State Council of Educational Research and Training. So if Ncert is the national architect drawing up the grand plans, then you can think of the Scerts as the local builders. They take that national blueprint and they make it work on the ground, adapting it to fit their state's unique culture, language, and specific needs. All right, so now we know who they are. Let's dig a little deeper into where their power actually comes from. Because, this is where the differences between them become crystal clear. So here is the key takeaway, the main difference. The Ncte has legal, statutory authority. That means their rules are the law. A teacher training college simply cannot exist without their green light. Ncert and Scert, on the other hand, their power is academic. They're the expert advisors creating the very foundation of what gets taught. But their guidelines aren't laws in the same way. It's the difference between legal power and expert influence. Now, what's really important to get is that these organizations don't just work in their own little bubbles. They absolutely have to work together for the whole system to function. Let's walk through a real-world example to see exactly how their roles connect. Okay, so just imagine a big decision is made to update, let's say, the nation's science textbooks. So what happens? First, Ncert gets to work. They do the research and create the new national blueprint. Then, that plan goes to each state's Scert, which customizes it, to make sense for the local context. And finally, the Ncte steps in. They update the teacher training programs to make sure educators are actually ready to teach this new material. See, it's a chain reaction from national policy right down to the classroom. We've broken down their roles, we've seen how they work as a team, so now let's pull it all together into one simple, straightforward cheat sheet. Just look at this table. It really lays it all out so clearly. Here's all you have to remember. If it's about rules for teacher training, you think Ncte. If it's about the national curriculum and textbooks, that's Ncert's job. And when it comes to state-level changes and implementation, that's Scert. Regulator, architect, implementer. That's the core distinction. So, at the end of the day, while their jobs are totally different, you've got the regulator, the architect, and the builder, they are all working towards one single unified mission. They might take different paths to get there, but the destination is exactly the same: improving the quality of education for every single student in the country. So we've unpacked the whole structure, the who does what of the system. But, understanding the framework just leads to an even bigger question, doesn't it? How effective is it all? How well is it actually delivering quality education? Now that's something to think about. Thanks for watching.